Hello and welcome to the Right Conversations. I am so delighted to have you here today. This has been a long time coming, but we are here and we are finally getting to do this. I am really thrilled to have you here. We've looked forward to this since the month of August and we are finally here. Yes, apologies once again for moving our initial date to today, but like I said, it's all for the best, right? I wanted to ensure that I was serving you, giving you value that was worth your time, right? I know this is free, but I just didn't want to toss it at you because it was free. There was a lot to deal with behind the scene at the time, so I had to move my date. Yes, so once again, I'm so happy to be here. So delighted to see you because this is your first step towards moving away from the place you have always been to the next best place of your life as a writer, right? So good to have you. So I know that you know my name already, but I don't just want to assume. I'm just going to go through the formality of introducing myself. So my name is Emike Usumai. I'm an author, I'm a book publishing consultant, and I'm also editorial director at Purple Ink Shed. In case you're wondering what is Purple Ink Shed, let me just uncover that to you. Purple Ink Shed is a creative writing, book consultation, and publishing business dedicated to nurturing literary talent. And yeah, we provide comprehensive services that span the entire book creation process from conceptualization and writing to editing to design and publishing. Our goal at Purple Ink Shed is to help authors bring their stories and their messages to life in a very impactful and authentic way. So, yes, I'm based in Lagos, Nigeria. And regardless of where you stay, we are happy to serve you anywhere on the globe. Yes, the world is a global village, like they say. So distance is not a barrier. We'll be happy to be a part of your writing and your publishing journey. Right. So I'll just leave details on the screen. If you need to send a DM concerning your book, a manuscript you have been putting off publishing, just send a DM. You're always one DM away from becoming a published author. So now that you know me, now that I have formally introduced myself, and of course I am married, yes, to the absolute love of my life, and I have we are blessed with three kids, two girls and a boy. Yeah, so that is it about me. I would like to meet you in the comment section. Please just drop your name. What is your name? Where are you watching from? What do you do? I know what do you do sounds like, oh, it's an odd question. I should assume you're writers. No, I know that everybody here is not a writer, okay? Or you're not primarily a writer. There are so many people I've met who became authors, but they were not like writing was not the first thing they do. That's not that's not directly linked to their career path at the moment. But it does not mean that you cannot delve into writing. Even if you're a doctor, I've published for a doctor, I've published for a school director, I publish for people in different walks of life, or people in the accounting field. I've published for them. I've actually published for two medical doctors right now. I'm still counting, right? So yes, you do not have to be primarily a writer to be here. So you may be here because you know that at the side you have this flair for writing. You are able to write. You're able to string thoughts together in writing in a way that holds people's attention. Yeah. So you could be a lawyer, an engineer, an architect, whatever you do, and that is a skill at the side. Yes, you are welcome here. This is not an odd place to be. You're actually in the right room right now. So I'd like to meet you in the comment section. Let me know where you are connected from and what you do and your name, of course. Right. So I'll be catching up in the comments and reading and responding to what you are typing. Yes, but so we're going to be moving along right away. So I have my laptop in front of me so that I am not overshooting my time, right? If I just do freestyle talking, I might exceed the time limit that I have here because I don't want to take the whole of your time. I do not want the law of diminishing returns to set in, right? So I want your mind to be fresh. I want your mind to still remain in that spongy state where you are soaking up all that I am saying and not that it's now bouncing back. No, I wouldn't want us to get there. So I'm going to do my best to stick to time and not make this too long. And also so that you can easily go back and go over the session again and again and, listen for what you missed the first time, what you missed the second time, and the third time, right? Because many times when you watch a message or you watch a video, listen to a podcast, trust me, there are things you're going to hear in your fifth round of playing that podcast, that message, or whatever it is that you did not hear the first time you played it, right? So I'm just trying to make this short so that you can go back and listen again and again. Yeah. So that said, we're diving in right away. And this is the right conversations, right? Right spelled WRITE, the right conversations. Because what we're talking about borders around the writing, around the more that you can be as a writer, and how you can earn as a writer, right? So, why do I keep saying right? Well, so yeah, so that's what we are doing today. I'm wondering, when you signed up, what was running through your mind? What were you thinking of? Were you imagining that, oh, when I come in here, she's just going to wave this magic wand and then, oh, boom, money starts dropping into my bank account? Was that what you were thinking? This is not Nollywood movie. Oh. This is not Kanayo or Kanayo's movie where he puts on calabash in the wardrobe and then he just goes there from time to time to say some incantations and then money starts bubbling out of the calabash and then, oh, he's going to this party where he's spraying dollars, pounds, sterling and all of that. No, man, no, sir, that's not what we're doing here, okay? So it's not magic, all right? I just wanted to establish that. And I am not also sharing with you a get rich quick scheme. I don't do get rich quick scheme. Oh. So God is a God of process. So he wants us to also go through the process of earning, the process of wealth creation. Okay, so it's not magic. Anyone selling you magic always has downsides that they are not telling you about, and those downsides are actually very, very real, right? So that's not what we are doing here today. Okay, so I'm not going to do any magic. Okay, now, well, magic, quote and unquote, the magic that you are going to receive here today is your determination to work on what you're going to learn and to work with it. Okay, so that's the only magic. And of course, the other thing, if you want to call it, I don't want to use the word magic. The other maybe external influence, supernatural influence that you should also expect is the favor of God. But this is what favor is not. Let me clarify that early as we are starting. Favor is not that thing that just makes you go to sleep and you are sleeping all day. You're not lifting a finger to do anything and then money just pumping into your account. No, favor is God's reward on your effort. So you must do something. You must put your hand on something for you to experience the favor of God. You can't be favored if you are sleeping all day, because what are you going to do with the favor? Is it favor to snore louder? Is it favor to sleep longer? Right? So you should be about something for the favor of God to be activated and manifested in your life. So I said all of this to help you pull off that any wrong expectations, wrong mindset, so that you can fully absorb all that I am bringing your way today. Okay, so let us move along. Like I said, my laptop is in front of me, so I'll be looking at it from time to time so that I can stay stay on course with my timing, right? So now I'm going to be using one or two scenarios from scripture to amplify what I'm talking about. So I believe that most of you signed up here, you are people of faith, right? And I trust that God's word is not offensive to you. Even though someone who is not a Christian, is watching this, I know that this will not offend, because after all is said and done, God is our source, right? We didn't show up here by ourselves, right? So I'm going to be using one or two illustrations from the scripture to help to portray some of my points. So one of the things I'd like to talk about is this, like, because I had said I'm not here to do magic, okay? There has to be substance that from which you can birth the more that your heart desires, right? So you know that all through history till date, God has always asked this question when he needed to do, when there had to be a switch, he needed to trigger a supply. He didn't do it out of nothing. He always asked, what do you have in your hand, right? Remember Moses. God asked him, what do you have in your hand? He was going to face Pharaoh. Pharaoh was like represented the superpower of his day, right? And a mere shepherd was going to contend with him, was going to confront him, and God was asking him, what do you have in your hand? God didn't just say, boom, just be going. I am Yahweh, I will do what I will do. he asked him, he needed something that he had. And what he had in his hand was a staff. And that staff represented his career, his profession as a shepherd. When Jesus needed to feed the crowd of over 5,000 people, he also asked the question, what do you have? And then they said, there's a little boy who has lunch. Who has five loaves of bread and two fish, right? There was a little boy. Why didn't he just make bread out of nothingness? God was showing us a principle that you need to present something in your hands. He's not going to do magic over nothing. So, and also there's the case of the widow whose husband had passed on, who was a prophet, and then the debtors were about to take her sons as price for what her late husband owed. And what did the prophet ask her? He said, what do you have in your house? What do you have in your house? And every time, if you look back, everything these people had were naturally and humanly insignificant. They were small, they didn't mean anything, but that was just a pointer to the fact that there is nothing in your hand that is irrelevant. There is no talent you have that is insignificant. There is no skill you have that is empty, that is nothing before God, right? Especially when it is a skill that is not generally highlighted in society as a big deal. You're not a doctor. You're not Ben Carson. You're not Steve Jobs, right? You are just a writer. You just know that you have this ability to string words together and hold people's attention. It may look ordinary because on the surface and at a glance, it does not just yield money just like that, right? There's usually a long process, a long journey from when you're starting to when this talent begins to pay off, or this skill begins to pay off financially. So I just wanted to share this illustration so that you can see that you are in good company. You are in good company. God has always used little things, insignificant things, to solve mind-boggling problems. That widow became debt-free. She sold the oil and went to live on the rest. That means the rest of it, says sell the oil, pay your debt, and live on the rest. That means what she made was enough to sustain her for the rest of their lives. Do you see that? So what you have as a writer, that creative writing gift, is not small, it's not irrelevant. As long as you are ready to put that on the table and let God breathe upon it and let him take you through the process, and you are ready to yield yourself to the hard work involved, God is going to take you to that place where you are literally walking in the realization of your dreams. All right, I thought to say all of that to just establish, like to set the stage for our conversation tonight. Okay, so I'm going to be moving along. I will try my best not to give too many or lengthy preambles. So the first thing that we're going to look at is, how do we turn that writing hobby to gold? Now we've established that you love to write, people commend you when you write, and that you discover that you'd rather communicate, or you communicate better in writing than you do in speaking. That's usually a pointer to the fact that, hey, there's something going, you've got something going here as a budding writer. There's a whole world waiting for you to explore, right? So then you're someone who you have an eye for excellent work. You're able to tell when you see a write-up, you're able to tell, oh, this is very good, this was well done, right? That is also a pointer to the fact that there is room for you in this space for writers and authors. Okay, so now that we have established that, how do we turn that writing hobby to gold? How do you begin to earn from what you have, from this gift that you have? First and foremost, first thing I'm going to share with you is this: number one, break past stereotypes, right? Break past stereotypes. We live in a world that is powered by all kinds of stereotypes, right? Many people believe that, oh, if you're not in certain career path, you are going to be struggling financially. What you are doing is irrelevant. There are a lot of thoughts like that. In fact, many of you know your stories. Before you got into the university, if you're not going to study medicine, engineering, or accounting, or maybe law, it looked like, oh, you were a failure. Your parents were not very happy. They were not looking forward to your future with confidence. Okay, they were not excited. I don't know how many parents brandish their children and say, oh, my son just finished from theater art, I'm so proud of him. Or, oh, my daughter just finished from English, right? Of course my parents were proud, they were happy when I graduated. Okay, but I want to believe that not because they don't appreciate me or what I studied, but I just know that because of societal beliefs, because of what we have, the mindset we have formed about certain career paths. I feel they would have been, their pride would have been way up there if I had finished as a medical doctor. I'm sure you get what I'm saying. They would have been so excited that, oh, our daughter is a medical doctor, you know, and all that. They'd be really excited to brandish me. Or, oh, my daughter is the first engineer in in our village or in our town or in her department. She was the only female, and then she made the best result. They are going to be so proud because there's just this belief that when you are an engineer, a doctor, an accountant, and all of that, you are positioned to do better. So if you're in that place where you feel like, oh, because I am in the arts, my strengths are in writing, then I'm less, I want you to do like this. Just do like this. You're acting like you're holding on to the edges of an imaginary hat. We're going to pull off that wrong hat right now. You do this, and we take it off and we toss it away, right? Because it is a limiting belief system. Okay, so you are not disadvantaged, you're not less because you are not in the other professional fields. Okay, so I want to settle that first. Once you are able to make peace with that and tell yourself that what I'm doing is relevant, you are ready to hit the road and run. I think that was what happened to me when I got out of university. I studied English and literary studies. When I got out of university, and then we went on for our went for youth service, the National Youth Service Program done in Nigeria. So when I got out of school and I went for my youth service, I was posted to Lagos, Nigeria. And then I didn't know anybody who could help me work my posting to a very, what do I call it now? This is still talking about stereotypes, right? I didn't have anybody to work my posting to a bank, to or an oil company, to the airport, because I heard that those were the places that were paying very well, you know. But I didn't even know what lay ahead of my path as a graduate of English. I just knew that, oh, as an English student, I also naturally enjoyed writing a lot. I was posted to an establishment that was into creating content for TV and radio. No man orchestrated it for me. Nobody took my name there. I didn't write to them. I didn't even know they existed. I did not know there was a career path around writing. All I knew about writing was you could write stories. So for me, I didn't think that anybody could live on writing stories. What was that? You know, I just felt like maybe I'll just be get an admin role one day after school. That was how far I could see when I was going to study English, right? So by the time I got in there, I was sent to the content department, and that became the beginning of a life transforming journey for me. And it just opened me up to the more that my career was really, that I did not know, that I had no idea about in school. You know, so that stereotype of, oh, if I didn't study a particular course, oh, I did not go to the bank, oh, I'm going to be irrelevant, it died on arrival, or it died the moment I was sent to that place, especially since I did not even influence it. So the moment I settled into the truth that I have something to offer my world, even though I'm not a doctor, a lawyer, my mind began to open up to possibilities. I really began to see the whole world of possibilities that lay ahead of me. And I got introduced to writing scripts. I got introduced to what production was like, being on set, you know, and it was just so, it was like it's like you're hungry and you're not sure what you want to eat. You're not really sure or let me say you're a pregnant woman. Pregnant women have very odd cravings. So sometimes they are hungry. They don't just like anything around them. And they are not even sure what they want to eat, right? I'm sure that happened to you. If you're watching, you've had kids. That happened to me a couple of times. And then suddenly someone cooks something and I eat the food. And the moment I eat it, I'm like, this was so good. And it's so satisfying. Then I realized that this was what I actually wanted to eat all this time. That was what my body needed. That was exactly how it felt like. I was served what I did not even know I needed. So the moment I realized and I embraced the truth that, hey, though I'm not a medical doctor, I'm not an accountant, I'm not an engineer, I have something to offer my world. That was the beginning of my breakthrough, right? And that was somewhere in 2008. 2008, that's a long time ago, right? How many years ago is that? That's like um 20, what years? How many years? Do the math, please, you know. So, so that was the beginning of my break. So first thing I'm telling you today, break away from past stereotypes. free yourself from past stereotypes. The moment you own this your career path as a writer, you're going to begin to get ready to really, really soar, right? Because there's nothing anyone can do for you if you lock yourself up in your mind and think you're small or you're not enough. If you don't fix that, there isn't much any master class will do for you, no matter how much you pay for it. So that's the first step. I'm sure we know all the writers that have gone on to make impact all around the world today, right? You have the Enid Blytons, you have Maya Angelou, you have Chimamanda Adichie, you have Abidare, you have so many of them. There's a long list of them, so many, especially of African, not just African descent, Nigerian descent, amazing, excellent authors. You need to check them out and realize that you are in good company, that the path you have chosen is so worth it, is worth your time, right? So that is one. Secondly, identify your niche or your genre. Identify your niche or your genre. If you're going to grow, you have to be in a place where you are improving your strength and not trying to improve your weaknesses, right? Writing has several genres. Writing is broad. You are not called, we are not all called or gifted to write, to serve all the different writing genres. Okay, I want you to understand that first and foremost. For me, I've always disliked poetry. I did not like poetry, but give me prose any day, I'm good to go. Poetry and even drama, I was really a bit skeptical about drama. I didn't really enjoy it so much, but at least I can still do attempt drama. But poetry, I just did not like poetry. I don't delve into poetry. I don't attempt poetry because I realized that, oh, it was not really, really, really my strength. Okay, so find your strength, find what you do well, because if you are in a field, in a writing genre that is not really yours, and you are struggling, you're going to kill your dream even before you give it a chance to bud. You're going to be killing your dream by yourself. So I remember reading a story by a young man, and I don't know how many people read the book. I don't know how well the book did, how if it sold significantly, right? But I could tell that the book wasn't exactly there yet. Yes, a good message, a good story, but this writer's strength is not really in fiction. Then I read his non-fiction writing and I was glued. I was glued to how his thoughts unfold with non-fiction, how he just moves from one paragraph to the other, and you are just held spellbound until you get to the end. I was like, oh wow, this guy is a good writer. I think the issue was that he was trying to delve into a genre that was not really his strength, right? Where he was not really very good at. So if he had tried to keep building a career around fiction, he would have called himself a failure, but that would be wrong. He's not a failure as a writer. He was just playing in a field where he was not gifted for, where he did not have the strength for. So he had found his niche in non-fiction, and whatever he wants to do in non-fiction, I know that he's going to do well, he's going to excel. So first and foremost, before you tell yourself, oh, I'm a failure, there's no money in writing, it may just be because you are playing in a genre that is not yours, that you are not equipped for. So find yours early enough and settle in there, right? So the next thing, read and read within your niche and within your genre. Okay, read and read there. You know what you lean toward. You love Christian fiction. Find every possible Christian fiction. Now, this is not to bring you to the place where you are doing copy and paste. No, that's not the idea. That's not the idea. The idea is for you to see what is obtainable, what has made this person stand out, especially those that have made impact, that are still making impact, right? So you need to find out what makes them stand out. Why are they excelling? So when you read, you're going to also get familiar with the structure, the flow, the principles. What should a best-selling fiction book look like? What should a best-selling memoir look like? Right? So look within that genre of yours and don't walk alone. Don't be a loner. Read very wide. Find as many authors as possible who sit within that particular genre and keep devouring their content. It's going to strengthen you. It's going to build your confidence. It's going to help you see what you're not doing right and what you can fix and how you can fix what you can fix. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, how is this connected to making money? It is connected, because you cannot be mediocre and make money, right? So stay with me. As I told you from the beginning, this is not a get rich quick scheme. You have to follow me carefully. You have to piece everything together and then understand that there's a process. Understand that every step on this journey is linked to where you are going, your ultimate destiny, your ultimate destiny of making money and making impact, right? Because if you don't make impact, you cannot make money. Okay, so you cannot put out shoddy stuff and expect to make money and make impact. All right, so all these thoughts are connected, so stay with me, don't go away. So the next thing, that's number, I think I just said number 3, read, and read within your genre. Number 4, write that book. Write that book. Write that book. How many times did I say it? Write that book. Because writing and publishing your first book is going to give you authorization and validation. Yeah, it will give, you cannot keep being an author in your head. That manuscript has been in your laptop, you have been carrying it everywhere, you have written it, but you're wondering, is it good enough? Will people buy this? Will people read this? How would you know if they are going to read or buy it if you never publish it, or if you never take the next step? Of course, you are not just going to jump from writing all by yourself and publishing it all by yourself. You're going to now go through the process, and the process of publishing involves allowing other experienced eyes look at your manuscript. Okay, now if you meet a very experienced editor, not one who is just out, some people are just proofreaders, but they call themselves editors. They're not really editors, they're just proofreaders. Maybe in another conversation I'm going to talk about the difference between a proofreader and an editor. And some people are like what I would like to call book midwives. They help you birth your book. They are not just correcting errors. They are seeing lapses in the flow of your thoughts. They are seeing plot holes in your story. They are seeing a lot of things that a proofreader may not see. The proofreader is just there to correct spellings, grammatical errors, and all of that. But these people are seeing so much more, and they are going to help you identify if you are really ready to be published, if you need a ghostwriter, or if what you are writing just needs minimal work and that is really excellent already for a beginner, right? So write that book. So when I say write that book, I don't mean do it alone. No, ensure that you go through it professionally, that you have extra eyes looking at it, you have the right professionals holding your hand and walking you through, so that when you get to the other side, you are not publishing shoddy material, you are not publishing something that people cannot read beyond the first 5 pages or the first 2 pages, or even beyond the first page. Okay, so write that book, publish that book. That is a step to moving on to becoming someone who's an authority in your field as a writer, because I could never call myself an author if I did not publish. Do you understand? Yes, people already knew me for a long time, or with my short articles and short stories I put out on social media and my posts, and the feedback was always the same, like, oh, I love the way you write. You write and I feel you. I hear it. It just impacts me, touches me so deeply, right? Sometimes I go back, I read old articles, I'm like, did I write this? This was so good. This just blessed me so much, right? But I could not remain there where I was just this Facebook article writer. I needed more validation if I was going to someday earn money from this thing that I was doing. So if you're going to earn money someday, you need validation, you need authorization, and that starts with writing and publishing that book. You went through a very remarkable experience with raising your children. Now your kids are all in university, doing very well, and you just have this framework that helped you write a book, publish that book, give yourself authorization. You are very fantastic with planning children's meals. Maybe you had a picky eater and you found a way around making that child eat, and the child began to grow and gain healthy weight. Write that book. You can't become an authority in dealing with a picky eater, right? You had challenges in your marriage was turbulent, you thought you were going to get a divorce, but somehow you got to work, yourself and your husband, and then today you're living in so much incredible bliss. Write that book. You do not know, you're just sitting on top of gold. You're supposed to be a voice out there in the marriage mountain. Because you've not written that book, you are not even giving yourself permission to shine and permission to be more. So write that book, publish that book. Okay, so that's the next step. So moving along, um the next day, I'm not saying this it's not in a chronological order, right? It's not in a particular order. Anyone could come first, all right? So the next point, number 5, put yourself out there. Put yourself out there. Be ready to do stuff for free. Yeah, because putting yourself out there will require you to do it for free a lot of the time. It will require you to do it for free. Okay, so get ready to do stuff for free. If you're going to begin to make money someday as a writer, be ready to put yourself out there. Now, when I say put yourself out there, what do I mean? Don't be discouraged. Don't let your first goal be to make money. If that is your first goal, you're going to give up even before you start. Trust me. Because when the monetary rewards are not coming in at that time, you're going to be discouraged. But when you tell yourself that, hey, I have something good going here, I want to share with my world, and I don't mind doing it for free right now, you are giving yourself permission to be discovered. So if nobody knows you and you're just coming out of nowhere, you're already saying, "Oh, I wrote this ebook. Come and pay 5,000 naira for a five chapter ebook," and nobody knows your value. Nobody has seen you write. They don't even know what you write. They don't know how good you are. They are not going to buy that book for 5,000 naira. So show up instead of scrolling on social media, looking at who married who broke up, who had the prettiest engagement, who is doing this, who did not do that, or the pastor that is preaching heresy, the one that is. Instead of wasting your time doing all of that, put yourself out there on social media. I did that a lot for many years, just writing short stories. Some of my books became started because I put them out there just as short stories. I was posting maybe every week, every other week on my Facebook page, and I would get this very encouraging feedback like, "Oh, you should write a book, you should publish a book." But imagine I kept that inside of me. I would live maybe the rest of my life, or the whole of my life, always doubting if I was ever good enough. But I had to put myself out there to get feedback, to know if what I had was something that was worth sharing to a larger audience. So be ready to put yourself out there. Some of you are writers, but your social media pages are just blank. All we see is you pouting with that pretty bag, pretty shoe. You're not doing anything about this writing gift you carry. You can't continue like that in 2025. I want to leave the remaining 3 months of this year. Let's take this as warm up, right? But 2025, you cannot continue like that. Start putting yourself out there. If you want to begin to make money, you want to start earning in multiple figures, you must put yourself out there. Nobody's going to patronize you under the table. And just like scripture says, you do not put on a candle and hide it under a bushel. You put it on a candle stand so it can give light to the entire house. So what you carry as a writer is light. In a sense, it is light. Yeah, that's what it is. So that light cannot shine if you are hiding it somewhere, you're not doing anything about it. Nobody knows that there's light, right? There are issues in society, issues around you that you can address as a writer, but because you never write anything in public, nobody knows what you're capable of doing. So put yourself out there. Now, I want to give you an example of how. So let me give you an example, my own personal experience of how putting myself out there moved me forward into beginning to earn and gaining confidence as a book writing consultant. So I had this series I started on Instagram in 2019 or 2020. So I remember when I started it, I didn't even know what the story was about. I didn't know where the story was going. I know I was in the kitchen and this line dropped in my heart. My name is Adeshewa. My friends call me Shewa. I just left the kitchen. I typed that in my notepad. And yes, by the way, always have something to scribble ideas into. It could be in your phone, right? Preferably, it should be in your phone. But if you have a physical notebook you can carry about, like a pocket notebook, please by all means do that so that you do not lose ideas. So I wrote that down and I left my phone. I went about what I was doing, but I knew that was going to be a series I was going to be posting online. Then when I got the time, I sat down and I began to develop that first chapter. And that first chapter became my first episode. Bear in mind that I didn't have episode 2, but I now went out, did this banner by myself on Canva, and now I'm going to having story Saturdays. I was going to be sharing a story. When I started, I didn't even know the title of that book. I didn't know the title of that series, I mean. So I wrote the first one. I think I gave the title that I changed. By the second episode, I changed it to A Ray of Hope, right? So we began to post it. And then after the first episode, I loved the feedback. You know, I saw people coming like, oh, we can't wait for Saturday. By the next episode, they're like, Saturdays are too far. Please, man, give us 2 episodes every week. You know, now I look back when I'm watching Abattoir, when Abattoir was still on, I began to really realize what I was doing to people. That, oh, this is what I was doing to my readers. Like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, Lord. I repent in dust and ashes, because they were always like Saturday was far. So I kept doing that for free. Remember, I was not paid a dime. I kept doing that. I kept doing that. I kept doing that. And one day, somebody saw that story online. What I would do, I'll write on my blog, then I'll share the link on my bio on Instagram, and then I would send the link to Facebook. So on Facebook, this woman saw this and she was like, I found my ghostwriter. She had been looking for a ghostwriter. In fact, she told me she already had a ghostwriter she was talking with, and that her rates were good, and she was okay. There was nothing wrong with her. But she said the moment she read, because I wrote a particular story in first person, from the first person point of view, where you're saying I, so it sounded like I was telling my story. And she wanted someone to help her tell her story about a particular experience she had in her life. She wanted to share how she came out victorious, you know, and she was like, I found my ghostwriter. Remember, I did it for free. I was not looking for money when I was doing that short story, but someone saw that thing I put out there for free, and the person saw her ghostwriter, and she reached out to me and told me, this is what I want to write. I was so excited. I think that was my first ghostwriting job. Okay, I done a smaller ghostwriting job before then. This was like my biggest ghostwriting job. If I had to I think what it cost, both writing, editing it at the time, it should have been around 200,000 naira then. I think that was 2020, because the book was released during the lockdown. So the book was released in 2020. Do you see that? So imagine if I sat in my house waiting for manna to fall from heaven, waiting for this miracle to happen, you know, I would not even be here today. So that built my confidence. So when she would come back and tell me, guess what? Somebody just shared this testimony about this book. I am so excited. I'm so delighted. I'm so pumped. Like, you know, this feeling of knowing that you are a part of something, a significant impact in the world. That just filled my heart so much. And that gave me confidence to keep, you know, putting myself out there. You know, I began to like, I can do this. I just wrote someone's story and she loved it, and I can do this some more, right? And then I became more confident to charge for writing, for ghostwriting jobs. Immediately after that, someone else reached out to me. I have this ghostwriting job I want you to handle for me. And when she reached out to me, I told her, okay, I charge per word and all that and all that. So at first she was like, oh, and she has a budget, okay, that this was how much she was going to spend. She was willing to spend, you know, but that we should start. So she sent me a deposit, and I started. That was my second ghostwriting job. I was earning from my people just by putting myself out there. So why am I telling you this? Now let me pause here. I didn't come here to just list. In fact, you can Google on your own and find out what you can do to earn money as a writer. I don't have to hold this session with you. So what is this session really supposed to achieve? It's just supposed to help you. It's like me showing you, giving you permission. You know, it's one thing to go online and read and say, oh, you can make a lot of money from writing, from ghostwriting. And then you see someone telling you, I did it, I earned money, I am still earning money. They are two different things. The second scenario kind of gives you permission to become. So that's what I'm just doing here. I'm not telling you anything new. I'm just telling you, you've heard about it. You have read about it online already. But I am here doing it. I'm getting results. You can do the same. It is not just story. So I am someone that you can relate to. At least you know me. You follow me on Instagram. You follow me online. Those of you that even know me in real life, you can relate, right? So this is all about just showing you, giving you permission to become. That is it. I'm not telling you anything new. I'm just telling you that you are in good company. Once upon a time, I was just this poster online. I was not earning from it. But several years down the line, it has become a business. As at March or April this year, I had closed down receiving manuscript for publishing for the year 2024. So imagine if I never put myself out there for free. Imagine if I had not gone through these processes I've been talking about, and I was just waiting for what big, like they say, waiting to blow, right? So nobody sits down and just blow. So that's not the idea. So I want to just show you, this is what I did I came out at a time where it was not paying me, but it was a step. It's like climbing a staircase. It's like saying, I'm not going to climb this staircase because it's very far from the top floor. If you don't put one step in front of the other, you will not get to that top floor. So if you love yourself and you know there's no lift, and that top floor, there's a bag of dollars there, you will start climbing, right? So this woman reached out to me, and then she paid me a deposit again for another ghostwriting job. Bear in mind that she has started by saying that, oh, she had a budget, she didn't want to, she sure had a budget. When she read the first draft, she was like, you know what? Fire on. Don't bother about the word count. Just write, pour it out, because we're trying to look at word count. But she was so impressed, right? And that was my second ghostwriting job. And then from then I moved on. I kept getting jobs. So we're not all ghostwriting. I began to now delve into publishing, editing, taking you through the entire process. I had a lot of, I burnt my fingers, so especially with editing. I didn't know so much. I didn't know anything about editing. Maybe I'll get to that part why you should read, and at least have basic knowledge about this field you're going into. Don't just do it from a place of passion. Passion is not enough, but we're going to get there, right? So that was how I started putting myself out there and being willing to do things for free. From putting out a free story Saturday series, I ended up landing my first major ghostwriting job. So put yourself out there. Yeah, be ready to do stuff for free. So that's number 5. Moving along. Number 6, start small. Start small. I think this is kind of connected to what I just shared, but let me just still explain it, because yeah, it's different in a way. When you start and you want to begin to charge, don't just start picturing that big life you want to start living, right? Sorry. So don't just start picturing that big life you want to start living, the big dreams that you have, the money you want to make at once. Nobody wakes up and just starts making billions or millions, even hundreds of thousands, right, at once. You need to start from somewhere. Now, I remember several years ago, I attended a concert. It was a contest, a choir contest, right? We have several choirs from different churches in my church. Like, it was a group. So all the churches in that group, they came with their choir, and then there were judges who were like seasoned singers, gospel music ministers. They were there. So one of these choirs that came forward, when they started singing, they held all of us, held our attention from the very first line. The moment they took the microphone, they started with a bang. That's the best way I can describe it. They started with a bang, and then we're all listening, we're watching, like, oh wow, this is so good. But then something happened. They just kind of began to like taper down. It was like they started so high, they didn't have anywhere else to go anymore, and then they lost all of us, and the song just kind of ended. It was just there. So there was something one of the judges said that stayed with me. So I'm using that as an illustration here. He said to them, this judge is a very seasoned keyboardist. He said, when you want to sing, you don't just start from the top. You start from the ground and begin to build up. He said, give yourself a room to have an increase in your tempo. That you guys started from the top of the tempo, so you didn't have anywhere else to go, and we all had to go home, right? So that stayed with me. I'm not a chorister, I'm not in the choir, but that lesson stayed with me. So start small as you step out to start earning. Be ready to start small. Don't just get out there. Your first time you're charging a client, you're calling figures, so many zeros. No, don't do that to yourself. You're going to close or end your career even before it starts, right? So don't just say, I want to get to 6 figures. She said we should move our writing up to 6 figures. It's not an overnight thing. There's a process to it. I did not start any 6 figures overnight. In fact, some of the sums I used to charge then, I'm sure some of them will look at me and be like, this lady, where? Let us see. She's the Mother Christmas that they sent to us in this our season of our life. And then, like I said, because I didn't have knowledge in certain things, my fingers were burned. I shot myself in the food, and I was just making losses. But one thing kept me going, because I had passion. it was just a joy to see a book being published. I would just go do it. It was stressful. I didn't even use very specialized apps. So a lot of it, there was no automation. I had to go through the painful process. But just because I was passionate about it, I endured. Like the Bible says, for the joy that was set before him, he endured the cross. So for the joy of seeing that person become a published author, I just endured all the stress I had to go through, right? But that was me starting small and allowing myself to grow. So start small, allow yourself to grow. Don't just jump into the game and want to start from the top, okay? So that's number 6. So we're moving on to number 7. Number 7, do not stay with old skills, get trained. Do not stay with old skills, get trained. There's a book by John Maxwell that says talent is not enough. Talent is not enough. That is so true. Your talent is not enough. You may be talented. In fact, everybody you see doing amazing things, they were born with that talent or that gift, but they got trained. The best footballers in the world, the best golfers, the best fashion designers, the best singers, they all got trained. They all got trained. I don't know why it seems like it's only mostly Christians who feel like, oh, the grace of God will carry me. They are the only ones who don't want to get trained. But we forget that even David in the Bible says that when Saul wanted someone to play the harp for him, he said, find me someone who is skilled. He did not just say who is anointed, right? David was both anointed and skilled. That means in their day, if they had an academy for training people who play the harp, he must have attended an academy. So he was anointed and he was skilled. So that you are a child of God, you are anointed does not mean you should not brush up your skills, right? So don't stay with old information. Get trained. I told you how I got my fingers burnt when I just started editing. My first editing job I did, I remember I just read casually, okay, when you are charging for editing, they pay 2 naira per word. I saw that was someone's quote. So I was like, 2 naira per word. Wow. To me, my mind at that time had not even expanded. My mind, I was just in this small place. So I could not even imagine someone giving me 50,000 naira for a 25,000 word manuscript. So I assumed that 2 naira per word meant 2 naira for every word you corrected. Please don't laugh at me, but that was my foolishness was premium in that regard. Like, I think about it, I'm like, wow. So I'm here to help you, to make your learning come shorter. Please don't do such a foolish thing like I did. So I did that, and I really told this person, he was like a kind of casual client. He knew the truth and he paid me based on that foolish conclusion that I had made. And I didn't know until I now began to read wider and started doing free courses, right? That was when my eyes began to open, like, oh wow, I had been so foolish, and I moved away from such things, such transactions, and I got better, right? So don't stay with old skills, whether in writing, whether as an editor, whether as a ghost writer. Do not stay with old skills, okay? So in case you're looking for where to find free courses, there are so many around us, okay? There are loads of free courses on Coursera, on Alison, okay? And then you can actually pace yourself and start investing in yourself, because these courses are free, right? So when you have done that, done those free courses, you can now take it a step further by going to places like Udemy, and then there's Readsy. Readsy has courses, they are paid. Udemy is also paid, but what they charge is still minimal, right? You cannot compare the cost to what it costs us today to braid our hair in Nigeria. Right now, the cheapest braid, the workmanship for the cheapest braid you're going to make is like 5,000 naira. And then, hair extensions are now very expensive. I think like 4,500 for one. And sometimes you get to use two. That would be like 9,000. No, so 9,000 plus 5,000 naira. That is like 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14,000 naira. Okay. So you spend 14,000 naira for a hairdo you're going to lose in after maximum 4 weeks. Okay. So you can afford a course on Udemy, because their courses are quite cheap. You have courses of 3,500, 3,800, 9,000, 7,000 naira. And one of the things I'll advise you to do is to have have the app on your phone, and then turn on notifications to allow you receive emails, because they always have these very incredible discounts periodically, so you can know when there's a discount, when there's an offer. Okay, so you are able to take advantage of that offer. Sometimes there's a discount as high as 70%, right? They sell it at 30% of the actual price. So you can build up your skills, build up your, like I told you, 6 figures is not for mediocre work. So you must invest in yourself. You cannot stay there and say, I cannot do it. I don't have time. I don't have helper. As I'm here, my journey has really been quite lonely. I've been alone. I didn't really have any godmother, godfather. Those began to show up somewhere along the line when I was now making obvious effort, and then I began to not get that kind of help, right? But you right now, you are the miracle you are waiting for. So get up and get on with enhancing your skills and begin to do these things that begin to, like they say, take your skills to Harvard, right? So when you have done those, I moved from doing free courses on Coursera, Allison, to Udemy, and then I began to delve into more courses that charged more, that cost more, that were longer, like 5 months and all of that, and I just kept improving my skills. So keep improving your skills. Keep improving your skills so you can keep saving value. Remember, you are not being paid money because you need money. You are being paid because you are delivering value, right? So moving on to the next point. I'm not sure if I should keep numbering this, but this is number, I'll call this is number 8, right? Number 8 is, sounds like something I said, but this is different in a sense. Number 8 says ditch old lies. Old lies like I don't have time. You have time. What you are not owning up to is the fact that you have misplaced your priorities. You're not earning from this, your writing skill, because you have misplaced your priorities. If you have time to keep up with every trend and every skit on social media, then you have time to take a course online. You have time to sit down. You can say, oh, I'm good at writing, but I don't have time to write. It is a lie. You have time to write. Your skill is like getting rusty in writing because you are not taking time to write. If you sit down and say, I'm going to write every morning, we all have our different time zones where we are at our peak with creativity. If yours is in the morning, once you wake up, you've had your devotion and gone through your morning routine. If you can sit down quietly and take 20 minutes to write, if you're the kind of person you have a driver driving you to work, you can sit down and write when you're commuting to work. Or maybe you're in the bus, you can just plug in your earpiece, shut out the noise around you, and write for 20 minutes on your way to work. So you have time. The other day I went online, I saw someone was rebuking people for getting on the trend about I am choosing, blah, blah, blah. I was like, hey, which one is this one? Where did this one happen? So I was not trying to catch up. What are they saying? Who is chosen? What happened to chosen? Do you understand? When the trend was on, I did not know about it. So sometimes we really have time to see every trend. This is what is happening. This is what they are saying. This is the new slang. This is the new kinikon. So dish those old lies. You have time. If you're going to make this money, you're going to snatch every time you have and begin to invest in yourself. Begin to invest in writing every day. Should I repeat myself? If I did not write and put on Facebook, will I get that my first job as a ghostwriter? The answer is obvious, right? So let's move along. Number nine. Yeah. So what else? Okay. Yeah, number nine. Number nine says go the extra mile. Go the extra mile. Go the extra mile in Nigeria sounds like speaking Swahili. Like you just walk into Lagos, the heart of Lagos, and you just start rapping away in Swahili. That's a language you don't understand. But let me give you an illustration. You know that when you learn and understand um, additional languages, it puts you in a position of advantage when you're looking for certain jobs, maybe in multinationals. Like you show up and you're like, oh, I can speak French, I can speak German, I can speak Spanish. That gives you an edge already. That is a foreign language, but it helps you, it positions you in a place where you're going to earn more. In the same way, this foreign language that says go the extra mile, it's a foreign language in Nigeria, like I said. When you understand it, it's going to position you to earn money. It's going to position you to be ahead. It will make you stand out of the crowd and to be ahead of your fellow writers. I've gone the extra mile too many times. I cannot count the number of times I've gone the extra mile. For all my clients, I go overboard. Every single one of them. I go the extra mile for them. That was a principle I had, that if I'm paid this, I will ensure I deliver more than I'm paid for, right? And guess what began to happen when I'm done? The client, the first time that happened to me, the client sent her balance and it was more by 5K. I was like, why is this? Did she make a mistake? I told her, I said, you overpaid me by 5K. You're like, oh, no, 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 I'm so pleased with your work. Thank you. That is just me saying thank you. And I was already happy, pleased with myself for what I charged her. And now she added extra on, and then that was when 5K was still something, right? So 5K could pay for fruits for for a 10 for my child in school. Okay, no, fruits then was like 6K. So imagine that would solve a major need. Okay, I'm not saying just earn and use your money to be solving issues at home. I'm just trying to give you what that value, what that 5K represented at that time, right? So that has happened to me a couple of times. They pay the balance and I have to call and say, your balance is more. The last one was even, that one was mind blowing. The balance was more by 50K. I was like, auntie, what is going on? You sent me, there's 50K extra. You have already paid. And I gave her a breakdown. She was like, she had to send a voice note to say, I'm just looking for ways to say thank you. Thank you for carrying this book as it was yours. Like, I went the extra mile. Going the extra mile is my personal mantra. So I don't think like the average Nigerian who's always asking, what is in it for me? I learn to see rewards beyond just money that is coming immediately. I see it as cementing my relationship with that client, putting me in a place where they want to easily refer people to me, where they never forget how I serve them, where they think about me. Like every time they think about me, they're not hissing like, that woman, she's dealt with, I suffered. It will not be great with her. When they think about me, or my clients think about me, I can say 100% that every time my name comes to them, they just want to bless me and pray for me. So go the extra mile to be a door opener. When they stand in rooms where they're even asking, oh, we need to raise a team. There's this multinational looking for a team of writers. We're about to get on a protracted, maybe a seasonal movie or something, and then they'll remember you. Why? Because you went the extra mile. But imagine if you were sloppy. How would you break into opportunities? How would the door open for you? Right? One of the jobs I recently finished, how did I get into the job? I didn't plan to go into the job. I went there for a different presentation. And then because I had put myself out there, because this person knows that, oh, I'm an author, I'm always talking writing. I'm always writing is like, oh, is the core of what I do. And he had to ask me, oh, how do you publish your books? I want to publish my book. I'm like, oh, it's what I do. That very day, I got commissioned to start work on his book. Do you understand? So go the extra mile. Put yourself out there. Be ready to do stuff for free. Invest in yourself. At the other side of all these things I'm talking about, that's where the 6 figures lies. So when I began to increase my fee, imagine now I had increased my rate when someone was still giving me like bonus, oh, 50K. I'm so happy. I'm just dashing you this 50,000 naira. Do you understand? Why was I able to not even increase my rates to that point? Because I had built what's it called? Authorization, validation, by following this journey one step at a time, one step at a time. So these are some of the things that you can do. So now we're going to the part I've been waiting for, right? Which is, of course, I know that I have drizzled this into everything I am saying. That's why I want you to go back and listen. How to begin to earn in 6 figures. It's all drizzled inside this entire conversation, right? So like, I don't want to just list out all the things that are possible. I'm telling you what I do. So in a nutshell, what do I do? What are the things I do to earn money as a writer? I'm going to list 6 things that I do. Sales from my published books. It takes us back to what I said. You must publish your book. You cannot earn from a book that is a dream in your laptop, right? So sales from my published books. Sometimes I'm at home. I've forgotten that, oh, I left a book somewhere. I left a book on a platform online, and then it's a platform that pays quarterly, and I just get an alert. I've written the book since, but alerts are still coming. Do you see? So you have to write that book. So number 1 is sales from my published books, book writing consultation, walking you through the process, evaluating your manuscript. Yeah. Evaluating your manuscript, telling you this is where you are. You cannot exactly publish this. You may need a ghostwriter. Those who are stuck, I'm able to hold them through and say, okay, this is what to do here, you're stuck here, this is what to do next. And I just walk you through that process, take you through what you should do when you are writing, when you are stuck, when you are not sure if you should share your story, um I don't know. I want to believe sometimes that also what I do involves some kind of like therapy, right? I've had people walk up to me and say, I want to write a book, and they are sharing the story. When I am listening to their voice notes, right? Maybe those that want me to be a ghostwriter, I'm like, this person has not healed. So I switch roles from that time. Like I'm now more like a counselor, like I see your pain. What you're going to do now, you're going to be bleeding on your readers. We don't want to do that. So step aside. So I'm not just out to make money. I'll say, this person is ready to offer me. Oh, the person is even living in Canada. They have plenty money. So I'm just going to take on the job. I'm able to sift through what they are saying. That's where the consultant is. I'm able to hear what they are saying that they have not said. And I know that, no, this will not be a wholesome book, because my aim is not just to make money. Like I said, the aim is to make impact. When you make impact, you will make money. If you don't make impact, you will not make money. So imagine I help someone write a book that she was just bleeding on the readers. There will be no impact, right? And she will not even make money, because she's going to get a bad name. They'll be like, oh, don't touch that book. Oh, it's a very sad book. It's just, you'll be depressed when you touch it. And then the next time she even tries to write a reasonable book from a place where she has healed, chances are higher that people are not going to listen to her. Okay. So from writing consultation, I make money from editing, right? I told you before, editing is not just correcting errors. I did a course. I've done several courses. I recently finished a course, like a diploma from College of Media and Publishing in the UK, in editing and proofreading. So I'm big on editing, not just proofreading, just correcting spellings and stuff. Editing, understanding concept around um, writing, legal issues, what is it called? What they call globalization, considering a global audience when you're editing, looking at certain terms. For example, I wrote for someone, and I was and she referred to a character in a story as old. And I remember that the country where she's based in, you don't refer to elderly people as old. They find it offensive. And she was one that told me this several years ago. So I was like, oh, I remember you told me this country where you stay, they don't really appreciate when you call them old. And can we please change this to try another expression? So like, oh yes, that is true. Thank you so much for remembering. She had totally forgotten that line. So that's what an editor does. They help you see things that your eyes will miss, are not necessarily spellings, right? Things like the structure, the flow, the concept, universal principles that you may be breaching while writing. Okay. So I make money from editing, make money from proofreading, I make money from publishing, and from ghostwriting. Like I'd already told you, I have a couple of, like, about 2 ghostwriting jobs waiting in 2025 by the grace of God. So these are the things I basically do. So for me to have arrived there, I had to go through all these things I've listed um ahead, right? So what can you do? What opportunities are there for you? The opportunities that are there for you are the same I've listed, and then there are extras like writing scripts. I actually started by writing scripts. I used to write scripts for documentaries, write scripts for TV shows. Yeah, I remember I did that in the early years, although it's been a long time since I wrote scripts for TV. Last TV script I wrote was in 2010. 2010. That was when I wrote a script last. No, not 2010. That was the first edition. That was the first season of that particular TV show. The second season was in 2016. Yeah, 2016, 2017. That was the second time I did that. And I made money from that, from the comfort of my house, right? So you can write for websites. Stop sitting on gold. You want me to shout? Don't stop sitting on gold. You can write for websites. You know those catchy lines you write? You just write a caption on a very normal post. Maybe your Sunday, you want to talk about your Sunday, how your Sunday went. A few, 2 paragraphs, and it's so catchy. That can be you writing those lines for a website. So you can write for websites, right? Yeah, right. You can edit and proofread. I don't want to, I've said a lot about that. You can edit and proofread. You can ghost write. Okay. Now, in case you are wondering, no, I don't want to assume that we all know what ghostwriting is. Ghostwriting is just you telling a story for someone in their voice, but using your skills as a writer, because they lack the skill, but they have a message or a story that the world must hear. And then you get paid for it, and the person gets the credit as the author, right? You get the credit in your bank account, and they get the credit as the author. Okay? So that's what ghostwriting is simply. So please stop sitting on money, stop leaving money on the table. These are ways you can earn. I'm doing it, I'm earning from these different ways I've told you about. You can do the same. I spoke to somebody once and she was like, she's a very fantastic writer. And I was like, oh, these are ways to earn. She was like, no, I don't see me doing any of this. I'm like, oh gosh, I can't help you there, right? That's why we started with doing like this. Take those wrong mindsets off your head, trash it, fling it away, fling it far away from you, okay? And begin to embrace possibilities. Okay, I understand that writers are generally, we're introverted. That's how we are wired. Anybody who writes well is generally an introvert. You hardly find a writer who is a sanguine, who is all over the place. No, we would like to just take our time. Rather not talk, rather send text messages instead of phone calls. Do you understand? So um if that is um yeah, so understand that you may not want to do, I'll tell you, you can do trainings. Yeah, you can actually do trainings. Of course, I've not had any training. I told you I was going to share what I do. I've not had any trainings for editors. So I'm eventually going to delve into that, as time goes on, by God's grace. I'm going to delve into that. So if I say I'm shy, I don't like talking to people, I prefer to write, I'm going to be sitting on gold and leaving money on the table. Okay, so the lady was like, I should not see herself doing all this. And I'm like, in my mind, I was like, wow, you cannot scale from where you are. You need to come out of the comfort of your just writing and publishing books to doing more for other people. And sometimes, like, she's such a fantastic writer that if she takes on clients in her genre, she's going to do amazing things. Like, she's just publishing only books like the kind she writes. She's going to raise an army of young writers in that category, and she's going to make a lot of money and a lot of impact. Okay, so don't tell yourself, oh, I cannot do this, I cannot, I'm tired, I don't have time. All this, I'm telling you, all this time I've built all this thing around my writing. I've done them, started from home, done them from home. We're just now transitioning into getting into an official office space, hopefully from 2025, and having a physical team that is in one location, right? Because right now my team is all over the place. There's this graphic designer here, there's this one there, there's this, that, there's the printer there. But this time I'm going to have it all in one place for the first time. But I started from where I was. I had little children. I wrote my first book when my son was 18 months. Yeah, was it 18 months? Not 18 months. Okay. It was going to be two. He started school just before he clocked two. Yeah, that's about when I published. Let's say it was 2 years old when I published my first book. So he was two. My second daughter must have been around 5 years old, right? And my first was 7. So I had 3 children under 10, and they were all dependent on me. I didn't have a house help, living house help. I always had those that came and went, cleaned and went, and sometimes they didn't last. They would go and get another one. Some seasons I don't have a help at all. All this I was doing, combining with motherhood, and then my husband pastoring a church. There was a lot. There were other things at the side calling for my attention. So you don't give that excuse. But I have little children. How will I do it? If it means something to you, you're going to stop telling yourself those lies, and you're going to get up and begin to do these things, starting from where you are. Right? So what's your action plan going on from here? Start writing daily. Even if it's not daily, let me not put you under pressure. At least don't let a week go by where you do not write at least 3 times a week. Don't let there be a week where you did not write at all. Okay? You can do that. What next can you do? You have that portfolio of articles you write. Start putting them out there. Your WhatsApp status is such a powerful tool. You just stop putting nonsense there. The day you buy fine shoe, you go and put it there. No. The day you fix fine hair, you go and snap yourself, you did new braids. No. Begin to put those articles there. You don't know who is watching. There's money in your immediate community. The first few people who paid me that I earned from, they were in my immediate community before I now began to get people I didn't know. That lady who gave me my first big ghostwriting job, We did not meet in person until 2 years later. We did not know in person. We only related online, phone call. In fact, she used to tease me that I introduced her to voice notes because I love voice notes. When I have to say a lot, I like to just do a voice note. So I'll tell her, please permit me, I need to use a voice note. And then she now became a pro. She's like, you have initiated me. I'm not a pro at voice note. And we have such a beautiful relationship working together. It was 2 years later we saw ourselves and we're hugging her like, it's so good to see you. And she was a much older clients. At least there's at least a 10 or 11 years gap between us, but it was such a beautiful experience. We are still in touch even till date, right? So don't give yourself any excuses. Don't give yourself any excuses. Don't let anything hold you back, right? So keep doing these things I've shared with you. You can go back, go through them, right? And just take note of them. Okay? That thing you're already doing what they're commending you for, begin to take it more seriously. Wake up, dress up for it. I remember the days when I would just be at home, I would dress up, I'll wear shoes. My kids, sometimes they're on holiday, they were like, Mommy, are you going out? I'll say, no, I'm helping my mind. So I can sit down and deliver that script. I'll wear my shoes, I'll come and sit down in my small corner. I didn't even have this type of swivel chair. I was using one Paco chair like this one. Those plastic chairs. I'll put it there. Sometimes it was even the dining table. I would just sit there, but I'll wear the shoes. I dress up as I'm going to the office in my house. But when the shoe is not feeling tight, sometimes I'll kick it off. But that was how I entered my day. In those days, I needed that push. I needed to wake something up because I'd been at home. I've been this stay-home mom for a long time. So whatever you need to do it to wake you up, to drag you into the mood. Don't sit in front of the laptop with your slumber net or with your hair bonnet. It's also going to put a bonnet over your creativity. But there's something about you waking up, you dress up, you chin up, you square your shoulders, and you walk into the room, you sashay into the room. So, and like you're this business executive, and your mind begin to catch up to the picture you're putting before you, right? So dream for the job, dress up for the job, create that atmosphere, use what you have at the moment. It may not be a fantastic space at the time. Use what you have, because from using what you have, you're going to grow into the more that awaits. So I'd like to see your questions. If you have any questions, leave your questions in the comment section. I'm going to be answering you. But these are the things that I know that I have done over the years that have brought me here. Frankly, these are the things I have done. I don't have any secret, any other, the other secret you can say, okay, is being diligent, being committed to what you are doing. Okay, you can't be lazy and keep having clients. You cannot be shabby and keep having clients. You cannot do shoddy work like I've been saying and keep having clients. They will not refer you, right? So how did I get the next job and the next job and the next job? Somebody kept saying, oh, she did this for me. I loved what she did. And then they come to me, right? That's one of the fastest ways to grow. Word of mouth, referrals. People will rather patronize you when somebody tells them, oh, I know, if you like, write an entire website on how excellent you are. People may not take the step until they meet someone they know in real life who says, oh, this lady is very good or this guy is very good, I've worked with them, right? So these are the things that I have done over the years that you can do. All of them, you can do them. So I trust that you're going to start implementing these things and you're going to start packing money from your table. Go and edit for money. Write for website, do it for money. Write what is it called? Script for podcasts. Put yourself out there. Create that e-banner, and put, if you don't know how to do it yourself, find somebody who can do it for you. Reach out to somebody. If you have to save, like they say, you use money to make money, save and pay for that e-banner 7,000 naira and say, oh, my name is so and so, this is what I do. Advertise the skills that you are equipped for in that season and start. So I'm going to wrap up with this. How did I even get into all of this? How did I get into doing publishing as a business and all of that? I had been in a financially tight place. I remember someone asked the question. I saw it online. She was like, if your husband for any reason is not around, is not in the picture, can you sustain the lifestyle that he's funding? If you are a woman and you cannot answer that question positively, you need to wake up. That was what woke me up. Like, no, I cannot. what I'm doing, I no, no, this is not it. So I remember I sat in front of the TV. I was making my head that I was watching Andrew Womack. Andrew Womack is the minister in the United States, and I was watching him, and he said, and he began to share how he used to go through a lot of trying times. He could barely eat until God showed him a skill he had that he could actually put out there, the value he could add, and he could charge for and earn money from. He said that was when that whole season of their life flipped. And in a moment, in a flash, I saw what I could do. Like, I can help people edit their books. I've published myself on Amazon many times, and Amazon they've approved my books. Like, if your book's not well done, they'll keep flagging, they'll not publish it. So like I went through the process of designing the layout, doing all of that, I can also do this for people and get paid. That was how I started. So that's all it is about. Realizing that you have an answer, you have a solution to offer. If your aim, I will close with this, if your focus is, I just want to make money, you will never make money. But if your focus is, there's a pinpoint someone is dealing with, I have the solution, you're ready to earn as much as you will eventually earn, right? So that was where I started. I realized that a lot of people are out there, they don't know how to publish. I've been there before. I'm like a forerunner, quote and unquote, and I can help them out and charge for it. And many years later, or several years later, the rest is history. I'm doing better. I'm growing financially, growing in impact, growing in confidence, growing my clientele base. That could be you too. So I want to thank you for being a part of this, taking our time to be here today. Leave your questions. We're going to still keep in touch through emails. If you have any questions, reach out through an email. You can come back here and drop your questions, and I'm going to answer it. And we'll have follow-up sessions. We're not going to end here. We'll keep having follow-up sessions to talk about your questions and your concerns. So till I come your way again, till I slide into your DM again, in all that you do, keep writing, keep putting yourself out there, start seeing yourself as somebody who carries value that can be paid for. Thank you very much.